Good morning, teacher and dear friends. My name is Tushar, and today I'll be talking about phase shifters. Introduction. Phase shifter is a two-port device whose basic function is to provide change in phase of RF signal with practically negligible attenuation. It provides variable insertion phase in a microwave signal without alerting the physical path length. Most phase shifters are two-port devices characterized by low insertion loss. This is an example of a microstrip phase shifter. It was invented by a scientist called Robert Fulsenheld, and it was invented in 1969. Types of phase shifters. There are three types: digital phase shifter, analog phase shifter, and mechanical phase shifters. Digital phase shifters. These phase shifters are digitally controlled, which basically means they are programmable. USB phase shifters are relatively new form factor, which enables the phase shift of the device to be controlled from a computer. Analog phase shifters is typically controlled using via voltage level. The phase shift change based on tuning the voltage is specified for each phase shifter. Mechanical phase shifters. These phase shifters are controlled manually with the use of a knob. The phase from input to the output is adjusted by turning them. In the image, you can see that there's a knob at the left-hand side, which is used to turn and control the phase shift. Parameters for selecting the phase shift. There are two parameters. First one is the phase range. This is the phase shift range of the device. Based on the way the device is configured, it will only be able to provide a phase shift within this range. Insertion loss. The loss of a signal from the input of the phase shifter to the output of the device is called insertion loss. But ideal phase shifters have zero loss. So if the loss is less, the performance of the phase shifter will be more. Applications. Phase shifter is used in communications and radar systems, which can be seen in defense industries, and it is also used in airports to control the air traffic, microwave instrumentation measurement systems, and in industrial applications, which is the defense industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Prashant. So we're generally talking about what is phase shifter, or what is the introduction of the phase shifter. Now, phase shifter is something you know already that changes the phase. Now, a microwave phase shifter, since we are talking about, we will not go much deeper into this analog phase shifter, digital phase shifter, or mechanical phase shifter. So we have to deal with the microwave frequencies. So a microwave phase shifter, which is again a two-port device, which produces a variable shift in the phase of incoming microwave signal. So whatever the signal you are giving as an input to the microwave device or a microwave signal, which is given to a microwave device, there will be shift in the phase in a two-port network of a microwave phase shifter. Now, usually what we take is a lossless dielectric slab, which will be placed inside the rectangular waveguide. That is mainly which will produce the phase shift. Now, this is a device which produces variable insertion phase in a microwave signal path, such that it will not alter the length of your device what you're taking, or the physical length of the insertion what is there inside the microwave. It will not be changed. Without that, there will be change in the phase shift. Now, most phase shifters, usually what we take are two-port devices, which are mainly characterized by two parameters. One is you should have the low insertion loss, and one more is the low VSWR ratio. So the phase of the microwave signal can be changed by inserting a low loss dielectric material, or you can take a ferrite material in the way of propagation path, so that it should produce the zero attenuation. Now, here when we take, just a second. Here when we consider the phase shifter, this phase shifter will have a perfectly matched to the input as well as output line. Now, input line and output lines which are taken with respect to equal magnitude but in opposite phase. Now, we say phase shifter is a reciprocal device. When I represent a phase shifter, it is usually represented as, suppose if we consider a rectangular or a circular section. So this is a device or a microwave port. Now there will be a dielectric slab which is placed. Either it can be parallel to or to the position of the maximum electric field. Now this is the maximum electric field which is across the device. This considering this will be your dielectric slab. So based on this, the phase shifter will be working. Now this will be your A and B, which will define your length as well as your width. Suppose if you are considering it as in a parallel direction, so it will be in terms of input and output, where you will be placing the phase shifter in between this. Suppose if I represent it like this. So each will have a phase shift, say consider it as beta L. Beta L is a phase shift for each of the phase shifters. So a phase shifter here is mainly realized by placing a lossless dielectric slab with a waveguide, which is either parallel to or at a position to maximum electric field. Here there will be a differential phase change which will be produced. The phase change is produced mainly because of the wave which is traveling inside the microwave device or through the wave velocity which is through the dielectric slab compared to that of your empty waveguide, that is without a dielectric slab. So two ports, again here, whatever the ports, the port 1 and port 2 you are taking, both will be matched as well as both the ends will be tapered, so that tapering and matching is done so that you should not get reflections, to obtain the zero reflections. So that was the general introduction of your phase shifter. And you have the general equations of the port 1 and port 2 phase shifter angle definition or the equation. There is no derivation, so you can just possible by heart the equation. You know the formula of beta, it is 2 pi by lambda. Since we are taking with respect to port 1, this is the guided wave. Since you are making the wave to propagate it, lambda g is the guided wavelength, 2 pi by lambda g, which is also given by the equation as 2 pi square root of 1 minus lambda naught divided by 2a square root of epsilon r whole square divided by the equation, that is lambda naught square root of epsilon r. So this is the equation for beta 1 with respect to port 2. Similarly, if you take for port 2, it is 2 pi by lambda g2, which is also equal to same equation 2 pi square root of, instead of going for 1 minus lambda naught pi, it is just 2a to the square, divide the whole thing by lambda naught divided by epsilon r. So these are the two equations. Again, there is no derivation, so you have to just by heart. So both the equations of differential phase shifters, and the phase shift, what we say, that is delta phi, is represented as beta 1 minus beta 2 into the length. The differential phase shift produced by the phase shifter is given by delta phi is equal to beta 1 minus beta 2 by L. So by adjusting the length, you can change the phase shifts. Differential phase shifts will be produced. So you can change or adjust the length of your phase shifters, and then you can change the differential phase shift. Now for an ideal phase shifter where there is zero shift, usually the S matrix is represented as 0, e to the power minus j delta phi, e to the power minus j delta phi, 0. So this will be the ideal S matrix of a phase shifter. Is that okay? We'll go to the next topic. Monica?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you can start. Just a minute. Yeah.
Is my screen visible? Can anyone confirm?
Monica, it is visible.
Okay, thank you. Good morning to all. I'm Monica. Today's presentation is about precision phase shifter. So agenda includes introduction of precision phase shifter, which is of a rotary type. And secondly, principle of operation with some equations related to it. And finally, the conclusion part of it. Before getting into the topic, let me tell you what is a phase shifter. As already Tushar told, a microwave phase shifter is nothing but a two-port passive device, which is going to produce a shift in the phase of the wave transmitted to it. And when does it produce a phase shift? Is whenever you place a lossless dielectric plate inside the rectangular waveguide, it is going to produce a phase shift. So let me get into my topic. A precision phase shifter consists of two wave sections. One is half wave section and another one is a quarter wave section. When it comes to half wave section, it is the rotary type of phase shifter will be consisting of a circular waveguide containing a lossless dielectric plate of length 2L, which is known as half wave section. And secondly, a section of rectangular to circular transition containing a lossless dielectric plate of length L is known as a quarter wave section. The only difference is that the lossless dielectric plate of length, if it is 2L, it is called as half wave section, and if it is of L, it is known as a quarter wave section. A precision phase shifter is illustrated in the diagram, which consists of a rotatable section as well as two dielectric plates, which is of lambda by 4, and it will be having a two transition modes, transverse electric modes, that is T10 and T11. Quarter wave section will be oriented at an angle of 45 degrees to a broader wall of the rectangular waveguide, and a circular to rectangular transition will be having the same length of L and will be oriented at an angle of 45 degrees. Whenever we do the transition from rectangular to circular, the incident T10 mode will become T11 mode in the circular waveguide section. Finally, the half wave section is going to produce a phase shift which is equal to twice that of the quarter wave section. Now we come to the principle of operation of rotary phase shifter, which can be explained as follows. As already told that T10 mode will be propagated into the input rectangular waveguide, so it will get converted into T11 mode in the circular waveguide. If we consider E to be the maximum electric field strength of this mode, it will be resolved into two components. First one is E1, which is polarized parallel to the plate, and E2 will be perpendicular to E1 or quarter wave section. So after propagation through the quarter wave plate, these components will be given by E1 will be equal to EI, which is nothing but the incident electric field into cos 45 degree, e power minus G beta 1 L. As we all know, cos 45 is 1 by root 2. If we substitute in place of EI by root 2 E naught, we'll get E naught into e power minus G beta 1 L, and E2 will be equal to EI sin 45 degree into e power minus G beta 1 L, which is equal to E naught e power minus G beta 2 L. So if we adjust the length in such a way that two components will be having equal magnitude but differential phase shift, phase change of 90 degree, that is beta 1 minus beta 2 into L will be equal to 90 degree. Then these components, that is the previous components E1 and E2, will be having a phase change of 90 degree. So these components will become E1 will be equal to the E naught into e power minus G beta 1 L, and E2 will be having a phase change of 90 degrees. So we are going to subtract minus 90 degrees from the exponential term. So E2 will be equal to E1 into e power minus G pi by 2. Thus, the quarter wave section converts the linearly polarized T11 wave to the circularly polarized wave and vice versa. After emerging out of the half wave section, these electric field components will be having a parallel and perpendicular components, that is E3 and E4. E3 is the parallel component and E4 will be the perpendicular component of it. So E3 is given by even cos theta minus E2 sin theta, e power minus G2 beta 1 L. If we substitute the previous equation E1 and E2, finally we get E3 is equal to E naught e power minus G theta, e power minus 3 beta 1 L. And similarly for E4 we'll get E naught e power minus G theta, e power minus G3 beta 1 L, e power j 3 pi by 2. And these E3 and E4 components can again be resolved into two components, that is parallel and perpendicular to output of the quarter wave plate. So E5 can be given by E naught into e power minus G2 theta, e power minus G4 beta 1 L. And similarly, E6 will be equal to E naught into e power minus G2 theta, e power minus G4 beta 1 L. Therefore, the panel component E5 and E6 will be having equal in magnitude and in phase. So the resultant electric field strength at the output will be given by E out will be equal to square root of E5 the whole square plus E6 the whole square. If you substitute the above equations, we'll get it as root 2 E naught e power minus G2 theta, e power minus G4 beta 1 L. And now if you substitute root 2 into E naught to be EI, the final expression of the resultant electric field strength would be E out will be equal to EI into e power minus G2 theta, e power minus G4 beta 1 L. And finally, the conclusion is that the resultant field that we obtain in the expression will be linearly polarized. T11 wave will be having the same direction, but with a phase shift of 2 theta plus 4 beta 1 L. This theta can be varied, but 4 beta 1 L is fixed at a given frequency and structure. If you wanted to have a phase shift of 2 theta, we have to rotate a half wave plate precisely through an angle of theta with respect to the quarter wave plate. That's all from my end. Thank you all.
So good, Monica. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
So we'll talk about precision phase shifter. You need to derive certain equations for this. So what she has told you already, total E6 equations of electric field, you need to derive it. Now coming to this precision phase shifter, as she has told you already, you have a quarter wavelength, you have a half wave section. Now when I talk about half wave section, it is a circular waveguide, which is actually having a lossless dielectric plate, because you know phase shifter is something where you put the lossless dielectric plate inside a waveguide. So inside the circular waveguide, you have a dielectric plate, which is of lossless, of length 2L, which is nothing but half wave section. Now, when I talk about this half wave section, it will rotate for 180 degree. Whereas the quarter wave section, this section can be again having a dielectric lossless plate of length L, which is oriented at an angle 45 degree. So in the half wave section, you can rotate over 360 degree between your circular and rectangular waveguide. When you consider the half wave section, this can be rotated 360 degree between the two sections. Two sections are nothing but circular as well as your rectangular waveguide transition, having your dielectric plates L as well as 2L, which are kept at an angle 180 degree. One more is at 45 degree. Now, you'll be incidenting a TE10 mode like which you have seen in attenuator. When it crosses from your half wave section to the, quarter wave section to your half wave section, it turns into TE11 mode in the circular waveguide section from a rectangular waveguide section. Half wave section, it will produce a phase shift equal to twice that is produced in the quarter wave, which means you know that quarter wave is nothing but lambda by 4. Twice of that is nothing but your half wave section, because lambda by 4 plus lambda by 4 is how much? 2 lambda by 4. So 2, that 4 will get cancelled. So you'll get lambda by 2. So half wave section will produce a phase shift which is equal to twice that is produced by the quarter wave section. That's the meaning of the line. So dielectric plates, again, both the ends will be tapered, mainly because you have to reduce the reflections. Now I want you to understand actually what is the operation of the precision phase shifter. Now this is your quarter wave section. This is your half wave section, the center one, and this is your, again, quarter wave section. You can see the plates which are placed inside. It is lambda by 4 of length L, lambda by 2 of length 2L. The length is taken as lambda by 4 here. Then it is lambda by 2. Again, quarter wave section is lambda by 4. This particular quarter wave section will have 45-degree dielectric plate, whereas half wave section will have 180-degree dielectric plate, which can be rotatable until 360 degree. So all these three are dielectric plates. Now, when you give TE10 mode to this half wave section, when it goes to the circular section, it will be TE11 mode. Again, coming back to half wave section, it will go to TE10 mode. Now, EI is the incident wave which you are giving to the first section, that is your half wave section. Now, what is the general principle of your rotatory phase shifter is, when you give TE11 mode incident field, that is EI, which is input to the quarter wave section. Now, this input to the quarter wave section, this will be decomposed into two fields, that is two transverse components. One will be, yesterday you have seen, one was split into E cos theta, one was split into E sin theta. Similarly here, this is in the quarter wave section. You can see the 45-degree inclination. So EI, which is incident wave, it is decomposed into two transverse components. That is, one is E1. So E1 will be the polarized parallel component. The other one is E2, which is the perpendicular to quarter wave component. So you have two components decomposed. E1 is the parallel component. E2 is the perpendicular component to the quarter wave plate. Now, after propagation of these plates, so you have to derive. So you will be having two equations. We'll talk about derivation later. I want you to understand the concept. Now, first, when you decompose, you have two components, E1 and E2. We'll find out the equations for that. Again, this particular E1 and E2, now it has to go to the circular wave section. Now, this circular wave section, what does it do is, the quarter wave sections which has the waves here, it will convert a linearly polarized wave into a circular polarized wave here. These are linearly polarized. These are circularly polarized. Linearly polarization, circular polarization. What is the meaning of polarization? Can anybody tell me what is actually polarization? Any idea about polarization? Okay. Polarization is, it's a property with respect to your electric and magnetic field. It is a property when you apply transverse wave to the geometric orientation of the oscillations. Imagine what I tell you. You have a transverse wave across your propagation. So when there is oscillations linearly happening, that is called as linear polarization. If you have the oscillation happening circularly, then we say that is a circular polarization. In general, I can just say that the electric field or the magnetic field variations with respect to the time. If it is linear, it is linear polarization. If it is circular, it is circular polarization. Now here, when from the quarter wave section, it is converted into a circular polarized wave, or vice versa. From circular polarized wave, it can also be converted back into linear polarized wave in the quarter wave plate. Now, once it give you E1 and E2 as the polarization waves or the output of your half wave section, this output of the half wave section is again emerging out of the half wave section. The field components here also, it will be parallel and perpendicular. So you'll have again two components coming out of your half wave section, which are E3 and E4. So this particular equation is the next process in the rotatory lambda by 2 plate. Now this particular waveguide, so you can see it is at an angle theta. This is also at an angle theta. Because it can rotate all over 360 degree, we'll consider at an angle theta, it is rotated. The middle lambda by 2 plate. So you will have E1 component rotated for E3, E2 component which is giving you E4. So you have two more components which is added in the rotatory lambda by 2 plate. Again, after the emergence from the half wave section, the field components E3 and E4 is again decomposed into polarized parallel and perpendicular output for the quarter wave plate. Now at the end here, again you can see you have E3, which is again 45-degree inclination. So see the propagation of the waves. The first plate, that is lambda by 2, it is anti-clockwise. Whereas when you come for rotatory plate, it is clockwise. Again, when you come for output lambda by 4 half wave section, it is anti-clockwise, which means that half wave section will be anti-clockwise, sorry, quarter wave section, half wave will be clockwise. So this 45-degree inclination from E3, because last one we have derived for E3 and E4. So E3 will give you at an angle 45, that is E5 component. Again, E4 will give you E6 component. So you have almost 6 components coming from the half wave section to quarter wave section to half wave section to quarter wave section. So output, what you get at last will be the resultant electric field. Is there any confusion? Should I explain you once again? You have to tell me, then don't tell me I'm fast. Is that okay? No response.
This one.
Yeah. So we'll derive the equations now. Generally, I want you to note down the equations because in textbook there is just an equations given. So starting from the components till E6 you are deriving. So the first component which you are deriving here, it is E1 and E2, which is in the quarter wave section. So starting from the quarter wave section, we will be deriving for E1. Now E1, I've told you there was an inclination of 45-degree. So since it has to go anti-clockwise, you have to derive for one is E1, one more is E2. Sorry, I think it is EI. This will be E1, this will be E2. Now E1 is the component which is with respect to your cos factor. This is quarter wave, so it is 45-degree. EI is equal to cos 45. You know cos 45 is 1 by root 2, which is, sorry, angle e to the power minus j beta 1L is the phase shift. So which is also equal to e to the power minus j beta 1L, where EI is also equal to, or E naught is equal to EI by root 2. So the equation you can write instead of EI by root 2 is E naught e to the power minus j beta 1L. So consider this as your first equation. Second, similarly, we will be writing for sine wave, which is equal to EI sine 45 e to the power minus j. This is with respect to one more phase shift, that is beta 2L, which is equal to, sorry, beta 1L. So EI will be EI by root 2 sine 45 e to the power minus j beta 1L, or this is also equal to E naught e to the power minus j beta 1L. But we know that there will be two components which will be giving you the phase shift. So differential phase shift, which is nothing but beta 1 minus beta 2 into L, which is equal to 90 degree. So I have to write for beta 1 here because I have to substitute for the E2 as beta 2. So beta 1 will be 90 degree plus beta 2L. So which is also equal to E2 will be E naught e to the power minus j, wherever you have beta 1L, substitute as 90 degree plus beta 2L, or I can say as E naught e to the power minus j. 90 can be written as pi by 2 e to the power minus j beta 2L. So this will be, again you can see what is E naught into e to the power minus j beta L, beta 2L, sorry, beta 1L. Just a minute, I made mistake. I have to write it in terms of beta 2. So here, give the equation in terms of beta 2. So here, beta 1 will be equal to beta 1L minus beta 2L, which is equal to 90 degree. So when you write for the E2 value, where you will be getting it as EI sine 45 e to the power minus j beta 1L, EI by root 2 e to the power minus j. This equation, this is beta 2. Sorry. So make it here beta 2. So write for beta 2L. So beta 2L will be beta 1L minus 90 degree. So the equation will be in terms of beta 1 so that it is easy for simplification. So here you substitute for beta 2L. So beta 2L will be beta 1L minus 90 degree. So this is E naught e to the power minus j beta 1L e to the power minus or j 90 degrees pi by 2. This term we know it is equal to this term, which means I can write it as E1 e to the power j pi by 2. So this equation you can take it as 3. From 1 you will get the equation E naught e to the power minus j beta 2L. So you have two components which are from the first quarter wave section, that is E1 is equal to E naught e to the power minus j beta 1L. Similarly, E2 is equal to E1 e to the power j pi by 2. Is that fine till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I'll clear the screen. So moving on to next, that is half wave section. Now half wave section, you know, it is E3 as well as E4 component. This is the parallel component which you are taking. This is the perpendicular component which you are taking. Now when you consider E3, you have to consider E1 and E2 component. Similarly, when you consider E4 also, you have to consider E1 and E2 component, which is coming out of half wave. You are seeing in the quarter wave section, sorry, which is coming out of quarter wave. You are going to check it in the half wave section. Now E3 component, what you have, this E3 component will have the component that is E1 cos theta minus your E2 sin theta, which is again giving you the phase shift e to the power minus j, twice it is B1L. So you can see the figure here, this figure where you are representing your quarter wave section, this figure, the second one. Since it is clockwise, E1 will be dependent on E3. So it is first will be E1 cos theta minus your E2 cos theta, sorry, E2 sin theta. Similarly, when you write for E4, it will be E1 cos theta plus E2 sin theta. So based on this, you have to write the direction which it is mentioned in the figure or in the operation. Based on that, you will be writing the equations. Now you have E3 as E1 cos theta minus E2 sin theta e to the power minus j 2 beta 1L. To simplify this, now multiply, that is, what is E1 value you have? That is, if you take E1 cos theta, what was E2 value, previous equation? What was E2 value in the previous equation, third equation?
E1 e power j by 2.
E1 e to the power j pi
J
by
pi by
2, yeah, sin theta into e to the power minus j 2 beta 1L. You can write here from third equation you have written for E2. So here you can take out E1 as common. So if you take E1 as common, you'll be remaining with cos theta minus e to the power j pi by 2 sin theta into a to the power minus j 2 beta 1 L. What is e to the power j pi by 2? Anybody? What is e to the power j pi by 2?
Cos pi by 2 plus j sin pi by 2.
Yeah, you can apply the formula of e power j theta, cos theta plus j sin theta. Here,
1 mark.
yeah, it is pi by 2 minus, sorry, plus j sin pi by 2. Cos pi by 2 value is 0. You will have sin pi by 2 is 1. So you'll be getting it as j. E to the power j pi by 2 is the value is j. So if you substitute it here, it is E1 instead of e power j pi by 2, I'll write it as j sin theta into e to the power minus j 2 beta 1 L. So this again I can write it in terms of, what is this? Cos theta minus j sin theta.
E power minus j theta.
E power minus j theta. So you can write this as E1 is equal to e power minus j theta e to the power minus j2 beta 1 L. So this particular equation, which is for E3, this is the final equation of E3, what you get in terms of E1. If I substitute in terms of E0, what is actually E1 in terms of E0? First equation, E1 in terms of E0.
E0 into e power minus j beta 1 L.
Minus j beta 1 L. So this is e to the power minus j theta, e to the power minus j 2 beta 1 L. So here you can see these two. These are the same parameters. So I can write E3 as E0 e to the power minus j theta, e to the power minus j 3 beta 1 L. So this is the final equation of E3. This equation you can take it as 4. Any confusion still here?
No, ma'am.
Yeah. So we'll move on to the next one, E4. I'll clear the screen.
Wait, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Now writing for your E4 component. Now look into the figure. Your terms will change because of the orientation of your parameters. For E4, this will be the horizontal component. This will be the vertical component. So for E4, the component starts from E2 cos theta plus E1 sin theta. Whereas here it will be negative because of the rotation of the angle. Here the rotation of angle is along the direction of E4, so it will be positive. So when you write the equation for E4, E4 will be equal to E2 cos theta plus E1 sin theta into e to the power minus j beta 2L. Now the steps are same. We have taken E2, you have taken from equation 3, that is E1 e to the power j pi by 2 cos theta plus E1 sin theta into e to the power minus j beta 2L. So the equation, if you simplify, take out E1 outside. Now we need to write the equation for e power j pi by 2. What was e power j pi by 2?
Cos pi by 2 plus j sin pi by 2.
Yeah, cos pi by 2 plus j sin pi by 2. Cos pi by 2 is
Is
0, sin pi by 2 is 1, so it is j. J cos theta plus sin theta into e to the power minus j beta 2L. Now I want such certain modification in this equation because I cannot apply the formula of cos theta plus j sin theta. I will take out this j outside. So if I take the j outside, you will have the equation as cos theta plus sine theta divided by j e to the power minus j theta to L. So this equation will be j E1. What is 1 by j? 1 by j value.
Minus j.
1 by j is equal to minus j. So here it is minus j sine theta e to the power minus j beta to L. So this is j E1. So here I can apply the formula of cos theta minus j sine theta as e to the power minus j theta e to the power minus j beta to L. Any confusion still here? No. Now what you have to do is, this is the perpendicular component. So beta 2 has to be changed for beta 1 so that we get the equations easy to solve. So what I'll do is minus j theta e to the power minus j, beta 1 L minus beta 2 L is equal to 90 degree. Since I'm writing for beta 2 L, I can say beta 2 L is nothing but beta 1 L minus 90 degree. So substitute this here for j as beta 1 L minus 90 degree. Tell me once you have written down and clear the screen and continue. Done?
Yes, ma'am.
So the next step, we have to simplify the equation further. E4 will be j E1 e to the power minus j theta. Since you have substituted it as e to the power minus j2 instead of beta 2L, it is beta 1L minus 90 degree. So simplify the equation. You have j E1 e to the power minus j theta e to the power minus j2 beta 1L minus into minus will be plus. So you will have j2 instead of 90, I'll write it as pi by 2 degree.
There's no 2, ma'am. E power minus j beta 1. There's no 2.
Okay, there is no 2.
That's beta 1.
Correct? Yeah. So j beta 1L e to the power
J pi by 2.
j pi by 2. Yeah. So this 2 is not. So if you simplify again further, you will have j instead of E1 from first equation, you can write it as E0 e to the power minus j beta 1L e to the power minus j theta e to the power minus j beta 1L and e to the power j pi by 2. So again, further simplification, if you are doing, what I can write for j, you have derived previously. What was the value of e to the power j pi by 2? What was value of e to the power j pi by 2? It was j. So since all the equations are in terms of exponential, I will change this j as e to the power j pi by 2 into e to the power this and this I can combine it and write. So it is e to the power minus j 2 beta 1L e to the power minus j theta e to the power j pi by 2. Again, E0 e to the power minus j theta. What will be the value of these two? This is 2 beta 1L. J pi by 2 plus j pi by 2 will be how much? E to the power j pi by 2 plus j pi by 2 will be 2j pi by 2. So you will have e to the power j pi. So you'll have the equations, that is e to the power j pi by 2 into e to the power minus 2 beta 1L e to the power minus j theta e to the power j pi by 2. Just check once whether the equations are proper, which you have written. E4 will be E2 cos theta plus E1 sin theta, e to the power j beta 2L. I have written the equation itself down. What was E3 equation you have written? Just check the first equation what we have written. It is e to the power, yeah, the first equation leaving that, it is actually e to the power minus j 2 beta 1 L. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. It's 2 beta.
So
Yes, ma'am.
E4, I think we did not take 2. So there
2.
is,
Yeah.
so just change it as 2 so that we will get the final equations properly. There was a problem in writing down, maybe I have missed it. First equation, E4. Yeah, this one here, you have to write here 2 beta 2 because there is a phase change coming from half wave section to quarter wave, sorry, quarter wave to half wave. So just make a change here, just add 2 to this section. Here it is 2, therefore here also it will be 2, here also it will be 2. So this in terms of beta 2L, you will have beta L minus 90 degree. Correct? Done?
Wait, ma'am.
Just make it as 2 for every cases.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So next step will be here E4 is equal to j into E naught e to the power minus j beta 1L e to the power minus j theta. Here you have substituted e to the power minus 2 into, instead of beta 2L, it is beta 1L minus 90 degree. Now simplify the same step, e to the power minus j beta 1L, e to the power minus j theta. This will be e to the power minus j 2 beta 1L, e to the power minus j 2 pi by 2 plus pi by 2. So this terms, if you add it, you will get it as j, instead of j, I'll be writing as e to the power j pi by 2, e to the power minus j 3 beta 1L, e to the power minus j theta, e to the power, this and this will get cancelled, j pi into E naught. So the final equation will be E naught, e to the power minus j theta, e to the power minus j 3 beta 1L. This and this term, that is pi plus pi by 2, will give you 3 pi by 2. The term here, it will be e to the power j 3 pi by 2. In the textbook, it is given as e to the power minus j pi by 2. This is also equal to e to the power j pi by 2 because you can see the values of both the values are same. So no problem with the equation. The actual equation, what you get is 3 pi by 2. So make this equation as 5.